How are you? I'm okay. We hear and participate in this exchange countless times every single day, but are we all really okay? Are the family members, friends, acquaintances, coffee baristas, and others we are asking, really okay? Is the general greeting even worth our time if we aren't searching for an answer beyond okay? A significant portion of my life has been spent around kids. I have worked with second graders at an elementary school kids club. I consistently babysit, and I nannied over the previous summer. Next fall, I plan on pursuing a career in education, following graduating from Edina High School this spring. When I'm asked by my peers what inspires me to spend as much time as I do around young people and why I want to dedicate the rest of my life to kids, I always give a variation of the same response. I love spending my time with young, impressionable people who enjoy every day to the fullest. And while that is certainly a true statement, do you want to know the real reason I'm going into education? The real reason is that I want to help kids honestly answer the question they will be asked multiple times a day for the rest of their lives. How are you? I love the genuine tenacity for life young people have, the tenacity that allows them to be their true selves no matter the situation, the tenacity that allows them to honestly answer the question, how are you? As kids get older, they are exposed to an ample amount of the horrific aspects of this world. However, as kids get older, they are provided with the same amount of mental health resources as they had when they were full of tenacity and sheltered from nearly everything. The challenge that comes from these lack of resources is rarely talked about. Although mental health is commonly addressed within schools, telling students to talk with their social workers when they're going through something or to reach out to their peers is often not enough to make them feel safe and comfortable enough to honestly answer the question, how are you? According to the CDC, 1 in 3 high school students had experienced persistent feelings of sadness or hopelessness in 2019. That is a 40% increase since 2009. In other words, there are 686 students in my class, the class of 2023 at Edina High School. This means that according to the data, about 229 students have been struggling. 229 students that likely go to class, participate in sports and activities, have a job, and do homework each night. 229 students that continue to move through life while it seems as though no one sees what they're struggling through. I have been to therapy multiple times. Although there have been different reasons why, a lot of them pertain to how much I give of myself to others. I have been on the phone until 3 a.m. on random Wednesday nights just to check in. I have set reminders on my phone to text people every 30 minutes. I have asked for parents' phone numbers, and I have had conversations that a teenager should never have to have. Although the 229 students in my grade have been severely overlooked by their peers, teachers, and other adults, that doesn't account for the hundreds of other students who have given everything of themselves to be the person that their friends need. There is not a single person I know who hasn't been impacted by mental health struggles. Everyone has a story, but the reality is most people don't get to share theirs. If you walk into Edina High School and you asked all 2,683 students, how are you? You would likely come out with 2,683 okays. Everyone is struggling in one way or another, but there are such strong beliefs against reaching out for help that hardly anyone gets the support that they need. Although there are often a couple of qualified professionals within schools, going to these adults often never crosses many people's minds. A couple of months ago, I was curious as to the knowledge people had of the social workers within our school. I asked 15 of my friends across 3 different grades if they knew the names and the locations of the social workers. Not a single person could answer both of these questions correctly. Although these resources are accessible, they are clearly not providing even close to the amount of support that teenagers need. 14 months ago, I experienced the effects of these lack of resources. While on my way to volleyball practice, I was on the phone with my friend. I started off the conversation by asking the infamous question, "How are you?" She then, of course, replied in a nonchalant manner with the answer of, "Okay." We then proceeded to talk about our plans for that next weekend, who would drive, whose house we would go to, what food we would get. And it wasn't until later that night, when I stepped out of my car after practice, that I went to routinely check my texts. I read the words, "Thank you for everything. I love you." When I read those words, I dropped everything and I fell to the ground. I called all of our friends numerous times and no one had heard a word from her. I then proceeded to call her parents 9 times until they finally picked up. My friend went to the hospital that day. She was not okay, and neither was I. Although there were so many things about the situation that managed to keep me up for weeks, there was one thing that kept repeating through my head. We had made plans for that next weekend, and she wasn't planning on being there for it. Despite the countless people who told me I couldn't have seen it coming, I felt pain in knowing that no matter how well I thought I knew her, I had no clue. I would like to say that is the only experience I've had with helping my friends to live another day. That is not the case. So many of my peers struggle to get out of bed each day. Suicide is an absolutely terrifying concept, and the amount of kids my age who are considering it is atrocious. As a teenager, I want to be someone who people feel confident going to when they're struggling. But I also want to live in a world where people feel confident going to adults who can provide them with the services that they need. I was there for my friend that day, but I know the outcome of the situation could have varied greatly. It is so scary to reach out for help. Although mental health is a very complicated area to navigate, there are a few things that we can do as students, teachers, and administrators. One example that has proven successful in my experience was teachers taking the occasional extra step of checking in. One month, last school year, I had a couple of things going on in my life that were providing a strain on my ability to study and pay attention in school. I was performing noticeably worse on a couple of quizzes and tests, and it had come to the point where I was questioning if I should prioritize my mental health or my education. In theory, it is an easy decision. The well-being of each individual is, of course, more important than any academic standards they are trying to maintain, no matter how high or low they may be considered. However, when it comes down to it, it's often not as easy of a choice as it seems. This is why teachers taking the occasional extra step of checking in is so important. Teachers recognizing that there are things going on in students' lives outside of school is crucial. That one day in class, my teacher not only asked how we were and moved on, but he dedicated a good portion of class to finding out the true answers. After providing just 15 minutes of a safe space, the conversations that he was able to evoke were remarkable. He forced people to go beyond the answer of okay and seek a genuine response. As a future educator, I believe I can empower young people to communicate openly with each other. I believe I can bring mental health issues to light. I believe I can be a trusted adult that students will reach out to for help without fear. I will be okay when I know our youth are okay. And we won't know the truth until we create a world where kids feel like they can answer this question honestly. And so I ask you the question again. How are you? Thank you.